We'll begin reports on the hashtag bad governance protests across Nigeria, where we understand that protests have begun in some areas while some places remain quiet. Now, to give us deep updates on the situation of things in the country, we have our reporters on ground scattered across the different parts of the state. And we're going to bring them shortly, starting with Joshua Imarayi, who would be in Abuja. We also have Imano Bogudu on standby in Abuja as well. We have Bernard Akede, who is alive here in Lagos, as well as Igbalani Omoni, also on standby in Lagos. But we'll first of all move to the FCT, the capital of Nigeria, Abuja, where we have Joshua Imarayi on standby. Joshua, a very good morning to you. Let's hear your update. What's going on where you are at the moment?
A pleasant morning to you from Abuja, Judith. We are currently at the Federal Secretariat, around the Federal Secretariat, and I'm directly embarking the road to the National Assembly. And as you can see, there are scores of security men as well as military men who are positioned in clusters around the Federal Capital Territory and particularly the city area. We are seeing a convergence of protesters. They are gaining numbers, and we heard that they are particularly at the stadium where is the main convening point of the protest in Abuja. But however, the protesters in Abuja are gathering in their numbers, and we could see them littered around several areas of Abuja. As you can see behind me, there's an armored tank of security men who are standing by at the main entrance of the National Assembly. This is basically what we are seeing in Abuja as security men in nook and crannies of the city center.
Joshua, if you don't mind, we'd like for the camera to be able to pan 360 so we can see the entirety of where you're standing at, not just the ammo tank behind you, but also right in front of you and by your side. So a little bit of 360 for us, for the cameraman, just to see what's going on. If you're there, if you can hear me, let him do it one more time for us. Just a 360 pan of the entirety of where you are located at. That's Joshua Imarayi. He is our correspondent live in front of the National Assembly in FCT Abuja, giving us updates. He said that although there are some parts of Abuja where protesters are scattered, ready to commence a protest, which is the hashtag End Bad Governance. But so far where he is, it seems to be quiet. We move now to Lagos, where we have Bernard Akede on standby. He's live at the Lekki toll gate on Lagos State, which is the center of excellence. Bernard, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Judith. Very good morning to you.
Yes, let's hear your update. So far, it looks quiet where you are at Lekki toll gate. We understand that was one of the biggest convergers at the biggest protest that we know for Nigeria, which is the hashtag End SARS protest. A little bit of difference this time around with hashtag End Bad Governance. What's the latest?
Yeah, a little bit of difference. To start with, if you've moved around Lagos this morning, you will notice that it's relatively quiet and peaceful. It's almost like it's a public holiday in Lagos. However, it's not a public holiday. There's not been any movement restriction, and there's no curfew. So I think most people are just being cautious about their movement. But here at the toll gate where we are, so I'll start from my right so you can see, what's going on. There's heavy security presence, more than usual. There's a big truck there by the Nigerian Army, and it's been here since morning. We've been here since before 7 a.m. That truck is here. Besides the truck, all the way down, you have police vehicles with police officers, and then they've been coming in numbers, increasing at some point, going back. But that's how it's been so far this morning. Vehicles are not so many on the road. There's not been heavy vehicular movement, and there's not so many pedestrians also moving around. And we've noticed one or two people, strangely dressed, and then security operatives have accosted them, I guess just to question them, to know what's going on or to know who they are. Now, besides here, all on this other side, where the toll gate is, where vehicles are coming from, very few vehicles, not many on the road. On a normal working Thursday morning, you have this place filled with cars, probably traffic reading and all of that. But nothing of such happening. And then just across the road here, interestingly, there was a water cannon truck that came, and it's still there, came with sirens blaring. And then when it's eventually parked there, I guess just to create awareness, like some would say, or to test its equipment, it began to shoot out some water from the cannon, so that we know that it's heavily loaded. But besides that, nothing much of consequence, except for one interesting thing I would mention. At some point, we saw some vehicles, private vehicles, 2 commercial buses, and I think 4 or 5 SUVs that drove down this way and parked further in front. And then the gentlemen who came out of those vehicles were dressed in uniforms that carried the title NURTW, that's the National Union of Road Transport Workers. What their mission was here, we're not sure. But they parked the vehicles here, they came down, they converged somewhere across the road, spoke for a couple of minutes, and then went back into their vehicle and drove off, almost like they were monitoring the situation here, whether they are pro-protest or anti-protest. We couldn't tell. They were here for quite a few minutes, and then they go back into the vehicles and drove off. That's pretty much all that has been happening here.
From your submission, what was very interesting about that was that they saw persons who were dressed in a certain way and accosted them and proceeded to question them. Can you give us more updates on that?
Well, nothing. It wasn't anything serious. Maybe say like 1 or 2 persons. One person who was, I think, just wearing a pair of shorts and looking questionable. So of course, security operatives not taking any chances, just calling the gentleman and asking, okay, who are you? What's going on? I also believe that those are the kind of questions they ask. And then another gentleman who was on dreadlocks, wearing a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, the same thing. I think just anybody who looks suspicious, who is passing here today, will be questioned basically as to what your mission or what their mission is in and around this vicinity. But nothing serious, nothing of consequence, and nothing major has happened here since about 7 a.m. or before 7 a.m. that we've been here so far.
It's very interesting that wearing shorts and having dreadlocks as a hairstyle is of questionable. It poses you as a questionable character. But many thanks. We appreciate you. We'll come back to you for more updates.